Hello and welcome. This is going to be the first of a few videos that I make on this particular subject. Um, it's about a dissertation, essay, thesis, whatever you like to call it, um, that has been written by Anthony Riley, aka Sleeping Warrior. Now, Anthony held a fundraiser hangout just over a year ago, on the 1st of October 2018, in which he promoted his GoFundMe page um, to raise money to enroll in a postgraduate course. I'm not quite sure of which college or university it was at, some sort of legal course in which he would present a dissertation. Here is the GoFundMe page, and he begins that by saying he has a rare opportunity to get a legal, peer-reviewed, pro-flat Earth dissertation into the education system at the highest levels. And although it won't be blatant the Earth is flat, it will be critically challenging the national curriculum with regards to how reliable and credible the tuition of the children of today are actually being taught is. Now, that sentence is not fantastic, and that's kind of the subject of today's video. But this is just to give you the background. So Anthony, credit to him, he raised some money. Clearly, people were happy enough to fund this particular project of his. Nothing untoward about that, although I do think these people were somewhat gullible given what we know about Anthony. But the dissertation has apparently been written and I assume been submitted. And I have been sent a PDF version of this dissertation, which you can see on the screen here. And I have copied the text and placed it into a Word document. And today I just wanted to point out, I found this incredibly difficult to read because of the English and the number of spelling errors and the poor construction of the sentences. And Anthony may not be aware, but when you work in many computer programs, they will actually check your work for you for spelling errors and so on. And there are better ones than just the checking on Microsoft Word. But having transposed it into Word, copied it into Word, and just run the simple document checker, we can see that there are 141 spelling mistakes, 87 grammatical errors, and 55 errors of clarity and conciseness identified by this relatively rudimentary bit of spell checking or grammar checking software. You can see here that just in the first couple of paragraphs we have 2 spelling mistakes, as well as other errors or other issues. I am somewhat surprised that somebody submitting a master's level dissertation would not actually take the trouble to properly spell check and grammar check and proofread the dissertation before submission. Now, I might have this wrong, of course. The copy I have been sent might be a draft version. It's possible that this isn't the final version that was submitted. So if that's the case, then apologies to Anthony. But just to let those who contributed to funding this particular project know, Anthony seems to have been a little slipshod in the way that he's actually gone about it. Now, I've now read the document, and I will be producing 2 or 3 videos looking into the arguments that Anthony presents here and discussing particularly his treatment of the scientific issues and scientific evidence that he mentions. Those of you who know me know that or know anything about me know that I am a scientist by training and career originally. I no longer work as a research scientist. I do work still in the education system. I tutor a number of students from master's level in biology down to high school students in chemistry, biology, and a little bit of physics as well. I also teach in another capacity in primary schools and secondary schools, in a sports capacity. So I have quite an interest in the education system. I have some knowledge and interest in the national curriculum, or as it pertains to what is taught here in Scotland. And I am very passionate about the way that science is taught and should be taught in schools, particularly at high school level, in order to prepare young people not just for the world, but for further education in scientific disciplines. My own experience in research in cell and molecular biology was that many undergraduate students lacked a good foundation in the scientific knowledge, but more worryingly, they lacked the ability to critically analyze information, data, experimental methods, and so on. And I fear that the education system in the UK actually lets a lot of people down, people who are perfectly capable of understanding how to do science, how to critically assess all things, not just scientific things, but all things they are taught and told about consumer products, political ideas, various other things. People seem to lack the critical skills necessary, and this has led us to having what is potentially a catastrophic result from the Brexit referendum, to having a complete nutcase as President of the United States, and a number of other somewhat worrying developments in the world of politics, as well as the sort of world in general. So my motivation for this is not so much to criticize the author of this document. Anthony Riley and I have had our run-ins over the years, last few years, since I became aware of his flat Earth views and his somewhat bizarre views with respect to science. But I don't bear Anthony any malice. I want to use his dissertation as an example of how a very poor argument based on incorrect evidence and facts can be dressed up, at least superficially, to appear to be a cogent and intelligent argument worthy of considerable consideration and possibly even acceptance by a majority of people. What Anthony presents here is riddled with inaccuracies, incorrect interpretations. It is, in my opinion, quite poorly and confusingly written. It is not well laid out in a logical sequence, but it's the failure on Anthony's part to be able to critically assess the evidence that he is actually presenting, and to present that evidence in an accurate way. That worries me, and I sincerely hope that once I've made, it would need to be 2 or 3 videos, because it's quite a long document. It's 33 pages and is full of problems. If there was simply 1 or 2 problems, I could deal with it in one video. Anyway, that's all I want to say for this video. It's really just setting the scene for what's to come, and getting out of the way all the many problems with spelling, grammar, and presentation that exist within the document, so that I can, in the coming videos, focus on the content and the nature of the arguments that he is trying to make. So thank you for listening, and look out for part 2, which I hope will be ready very soon.